On Monday, President Muhammadu Buhari assented to the bill amending the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Chain Contract Act. The president, who is currently on a private visit to London, United Kingdom, made this announcement in a post on his official Twitter handle. He described the signing as a landmark moment for Nigeria. Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Chain Contract Act was recently passed into law by the National Assembly. President Buhari, in his tweet, appreciated the lawmakers for their cooperation in making the long-overdue amendment possible. He added that during his 2020 budget presentation speech before the National Assembly in October, he had earlier highlighted the need to urgently review the fiscal terms for deep offshore oil fields to reflect current realities and to ensure increased government revenues. On Tuesday, the Senate confirmed the appointment of two heads of the judicial arm of government. They are Justice J.T. Soho as the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria and Justice Benedict Bakwap Kanyib as the President of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. This is just as the Senate on Tuesday resolved to send a delegation to condole with the families of Tafawa Balewa and Mobolaji Johnson over the deaths of Hajiya Jummai Tafawa Balewa and Brigadier General Mobolaji Johnson, respectively. The Senate's decision was reached after a 1-minute silence was held in honor of the deceased, following two motions brought on the floor by Senators Mohammed Bulkachua, APC Bauchi North, and Oluremi Tinubu, APC Lagos Central, respectively. Hajiya Jummai Tafawa Balewa was the last surviving wife of Nigeria's first Prime Minister, late Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, while Brigadier Mobolaji Johnson was the first military governor of Lagos State from May 1967 to July 1975. The Senate, in a motion, also urged the federal government to immortalize Hajiya Jummai Tafawa Balewa. On Wednesday, the Senior Special Assistant to the President of National Assembly Matters Senate, Babajide Omoworare, said President Muhammadu Buhari did not relegate Vice President Yemi Osinbajo by traveling without handing over to him. He said this during a press briefing with journalists. Addressing journalists with his colleague in the House of Representatives, Umar El-Yakub, Mr. Omoworare said the president did not undermine the office of the vice president. He maintained that the president is free to perform his functions from anywhere in the world. On his part, Mr. El-Yakub assured that the federal government is committed to transparency, accountability, and preventing revenue leakages in government. He said the partnership between the National Assembly and Executive will ensure that the Petroleum Industry Bill received the necessary importance it deserved from both parties. On Thursday, the Senate called on the Nigeria Police Force in conjunction with the Federal Road Safety Corps to investigate the circumstances that led to the fire outbreak that gutted properties in Onitsha late October. The senators made this call following a motion raised by Ifeanyi Ubah, Uche Ekwunife, and Stella Odua, all senators representing Anambra State, on the tragic fuel tanker fire disaster in the state. Recall that in the span of 2 weeks, 3 tankers laden with petroleum product fell in Onitsha, Anambra State, spilling their contents, resulting in the destruction of properties and lives. While debating the motion, Ezenwa Onyewuchi, PDP Imo East, lamented the worrisome response rate to disasters in the country, while also commiserating with the victims of the incident. Other senators called on the Federal Road Safety Corps to up its game in keeping unfit vehicles and drivers off the nation's roads. The Senate President, Ahmad Lawan, also called on the state government to be more responsive in ensuring the safety of lives and properties. The House then observed a minute's silence in honor of those who died in the inferno. Following the debate, the Senate resolved to send a delegation to visit and commiserate with the victims. It also urged the federal government to give financial aids. to the affected persons, as well as provide firefighting equipment in all major markets across the country. On Friday, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu presented a total budget estimate of 1.168 trillion naira for 2020 to the House of Assembly. The budget estimate consists of 723.6 billion naira as capital expenditure and 441.8 billion naira for recurrent expenditure, which is a ratio of 62 to 88%. The budget size is higher by 34% compared to 2018, which performance as of September stood at 69%. Tagged Budget of Awakening, the governor said there were needs for sacrifices from all to reinvent Lagos and take the state to a much higher level. The governor said the budget is consistent with the themes agenda of his administration and gave priority to the completion of ongoing projects. The proposed budget will be funded by a projected total revenue of 1.071 trillion naira and a deficit amounting to 97.53 billion naira. Sanwo-Olu said the budget is strong for development and sought to aggressively invest in and develop education, health, and other physical infrastructural sectors.